Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't really a ship versus ship video or anything in particular. I have just finished a bunch of work on the Superstar Destroyers, the Executor and the Eclipse. Basically making death clones. I have found a way to actually incorporate a death clone animation within the ship itself, rather than actually using a separate model for the so-called death clone. That's why it's called a death clone. You clone the ship model and then you add the animation to that. I figured, why couldn't we do it on the ship itself? This enables death clones for superstar destroyers like well, the Eclipse and the Executor, which have the vertical rotation. But first we have to blow up a Superstar Destroyer to get to see that, so I figured why not record that, since that might be fun.
Weapons online.
So over here we have a whole bunch of very heavy battleships. There we have, obviously, well, the Eclipse. Spawned on quite a low plane, that's not a problem. Let's go for the shield generator first. We're of course going behind the ship because obviously that's what you want to do.
The shield generator.
I could use a bunch of bombers, but I figured why not use a couple of super heavy battleships. Yeah, something's getting blown out of the sky. It's that one. Alright, well that's not a problem. Alright, you know what, let's just stop and fire. I mean, most of these things are forward facing anyway. The Kendosies can fire every which way with their super heavy missiles. The Kedalbays do need to face forward to actually use their ultra heavy mass drivers and such. They've got a couple of mass drivers in the front and then two very heavy cannons in the side. Lovingly referred to as big boom boom cannons in the code, by the way. They do a lot of damage, but the Eclipse hardpoints simply have a ton of health, so that's why they're not doing a lot of damage. Let's see if we can actually get these missiles to
Weapons charged.
it's like what? Okay. Let's see if we can get the missiles to take out the fighters.
Loosen up. I can't shake him. I've got a fix.
Now the rear of the Eclipse does actually have quite a bit of weaponry, but actually quite a significant amount of weaponry, but of course not nearly as much as its front, though in its current rotation it can still apparently just attack. Which is a little annoying because they are actually getting through our battleships. Even though the Mandalorians do have some of the heaviest and most overpowered warships in the entire mod, namely of course that being the Kandosi and the Kedalbay, they are still getting through the fleet. Which is impressive, because obviously, even though the Eclipse is not the main battleship Superstar Destroyer, that will be the Executor of course, it's still quite an impressive ship. Obviously it's got a lot of firepower. I would like it to turn around. It's not doing that. In an earlier test it did, but I actually had the incorrect Eclipse model loaded up in the game, so I had to redo that one. Oh, we're getting through the ship though. Quite nicely. Actually taking out most of this hardpoint. Let's actually move forward.
I've been hit.
I do like the vertical rotation, man. It's so cool. We're getting to fire again. Obviously, the Eclipse can fire every which way with its super laser. I can set it up like the Death Star, where it only fires forward, but honestly, in most situations, that would just be so unpractical that I simply don't want to have that in the game. I think that would be unbalanced, because you are paying a fair chunk of change for actually getting the Eclipse, and the reason you're getting it is partially, of course, the super laser. And the ship is fairly slow to turn, so if the Superstar Destroyer becomes unfunctional because you can't turn it around because you can't face the ship, making it so that you can't actually use the ability, then I think that is unbalanced. And we are getting some severe stuttering. What is happening here?
Battleship standing by.
Not quite sure.
I copy.
Let's actually stand here. This is a very good position for us. Now, so hopefully, I think actually the splash damage on the projectiles of the Kedalbay are actually draining the health of the ship faster than that its hardpoints are going down, so the health pool in total will actually reach 0 before all the hardpoints are destroyed, in which case the ship will just normally blow up. I don't exactly know how many ships we started this with, but they've actually taken down quite a bit of... Yeah, there goes another one. We are going to get through the Eclipse though, so... Now, the hope of course is now that we are going to see the death clone of the Eclipse. This might not actually happen, since this is actually the first time I test this in game, aside from my preliminary tests, which I did with a very simple Venator death clone. Just a proof of concept to see that, yes, if you put the animation onto a different ship, the ship itself, it will display the death animation. Did I not get rid of the light flickering? I thought I did. May have to move the lights further away from the hull. The whole flickering issue is simply that you need to place the light mesh away from the actual faces that you put the texture on. Because if you put them too close together, then from a distance you get this flicker effect right here. Now here you can't see it, but yeah, now you can see the flicker effect here. It's very annoying. I've exported the Superstar Destroyers numerous times at this point, trying to get rid of that. But we are actually going to see the death clone here, hopefully, because we are very close to getting it down. Let's see. Will this happen? I really hope it does, guys. Let's see. Ah, one last hurrah. And there goes the final turbo laser. Well, here we go. Oh, it did not go with a vertical rotation. Oh, that really fucking sucks. That really sucks. I just did a bunch of work to ensure that it would stay in the same position when it blew up, and it didn't. You could see how it snapped back to its planar rotation. At least I think it did. That was really shitty. Alright, well, live and learn. That basically means that I have to go back to the drawing board and make some alterations. Yeah, that's about it. I will sit here just to enjoy the Eclipse death clone. Though it takes quite a bit of time for it to complete. We're getting some flickering on the shadow mesh. That is when the light source itself stays on a particular angle to the faces that are being overshadowed, and the shadow is not entirely covering it. Then you get a sort of flickering. You can see it over here as well. It's a little annoying. It only happens in particular angles again. Still annoying, but it's just something we gotta live with. Now it's completely dark. This side isn't. Of course, this is simply a custom map I set up just for this test alone. This used to be the Coruscant map, which is where I did the Battle of Coruscant. Figured we could reuse it from this. I also noticed that the giant smoke particles I had set up are not currently displayed. It's another thing I have to look into. I did make a new smoke effect specifically for the Superstar Destroyer death clones, because they have to be large and huge at the same time. Makes large. Now, but they have to be large. For example, right here I blew up one of the gravity wells. The front gravity wells on either side are gone too. This would of course be covered by the smoke effect that is currently not being displayed. The bridge is going to go in a bit too. Yep, there it goes, and then the smoke effect should cover that. Of course now it won't, so you can clearly see that I simply removed the bridge mesh, detached it from the rest of the ship, and then simply removed it. Yeah, this does take a while. And then it falls to the ground a little bit. It shouldn't hit the planet mesh. At least I really hope it doesn't. The Executor one might. It goes down a bit further than the Eclipse itself, so I'll do another test about that. I may even record it. These aren't really the most exciting pieces of content, I'm aware. But they are things that I test. Alright, of course, since it's the same object, it's still the actual... and there it goes. Since it's still the same ship object that you normally play with, once you hover over it, unlike a death clone where you do not get a description Here, of course, you still do get the description, and if you still want to alter the explosion particle a little bit, just to, for example, get the debris to fly out a little bit further initially, because right now you can still see that it's in a sphere, and the sphere isn't large enough to encompass the entire Superstar Destroyer. We also fire them away at a little bit higher speed, because right now it doesn't look like that much of an impressive explosion. But anyway, that was about it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching, and I may record the Eclipse or the Executor Deathclone as well once I've got it working a little bit better. Yeah, that was it for now. Bye bye.